Egypt, the richest source of archaeological treasures on the planet. Hidden beneath this desert landscape.
Beneath the Egyptian pyramids may be a secret that has been hidden for thousands of years. For generations, people believed these giant stones were simply tombs for ancient kings. But new claims have raised a much bigger question. Researchers say scans may have detected a huge, strange, and massive structure buried deep beneath the pyramid of Khafre. If this is true, it could change what we know about ancient Egypt. So what is really buried beneath the pyramids, and why is someone fighting to keep the truth hidden? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. The forgotten Egyptian machine, buried beneath the pyramid, rediscovered. For thousands of years, people have stood in front of the pyramids of Giza and wondered how they were built. These giant stone structures have survived wars, storms, earthquakes, and the passing of time. They have become one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world. Every year, millions of people travel to Egypt just to see them with their own eyes. Most visitors look at the huge blocks of stone reaching into the sky. They take pictures, admire the size of the pyramids, and leave believing they have seen everything. But some researchers believe the biggest mystery is not above the ground. They believe the real secret may be hidden far below the desert. This idea has sparked one of the biggest debates in modern archaeology. Some people believe it could change history forever. Others say there is no solid proof to support it. The truth is that the discussion is far from over. The center of this mystery is the Khafre pyramid. It is the second largest pyramid on the Giza plateau and was built for Pharaoh Khafre around 4,500 years ago. The pyramid still stands proudly beside the Great Pyramid of Khufu and the smaller pyramid of Menkaure. Together, these three pyramids have amazed the world for centuries. The Khafre pyramid rises about 136 meters into the sky and sits on a square base more than 200 meters wide. From a distance, it almost looks taller than the Great Pyramid because it stands on slightly higher ground. Even today, part of its smooth white limestone covering can still be seen near the top. This gives people a small look at how bright and beautiful the pyramids once appeared when they were first built. Many people believe the Khafre pyramid was built as the final resting place of the king. Like many ancient Egyptian pyramids, it contains a burial chamber. However, there is something that has puzzled researchers for many years. The burial chamber was found empty. There was no mummy inside. There were no treasures waiting to be discovered. The stone coffin was open, and the walls were mostly plain. Compared to many later Egyptian tombs that were covered with colorful writings and pictures, the inside of the Khafre pyramid seems surprisingly simple. Some people believe grave robbers entered long ago and took everything. Others wonder if the chamber was never meant to hold the king in the first place. That question has remained unanswered. Scientists have searched the pyramid before. In 1968, Nobel Prize-winning physicist Luis Alvarez used a special method called muon scanning. This method uses tiny particles from space to look through thick stone without digging. His goal was to see if hidden rooms were hiding inside the pyramid. After completing the study, no secret chambers were found. At the time, many people believed the search had settled the question. If such advanced equipment found nothing, perhaps there was nothing left to discover. But science continues to improve. New technology often sees things that older machines could not. Because of this, some researchers believed it was worth looking again using newer methods. In 2025, a research team announced that they had used a different kind of technology to study the Khafre pyramid. Instead of digging into the ground, they relied on satellites orbiting high above the Earth. They used a method known as synthetic aperture radar, together with another process that studies tiny movements inside the ground. By collecting information from several satellite systems, they believed they could build a picture of what might exist beneath the surface. They also used computer programs powered by artificial intelligence to help study the large amount of data collected during the investigation. The researchers said the images revealed something unexpected. They claimed to have found signs of several huge underground structures beneath the Khafre pyramid. According to their interpretation, there were 8 large vertical shafts reaching deep below the monument. They also claimed the shafts appeared to be arranged in a careful pattern instead of forming naturally. Around each shaft, they believed they could see spiral shapes winding downward. Even more surprising, they suggested the shafts connected to 2 massive cube-shaped spaces deep below the ground. They also reported seeing several other connected structures between the surface and the deeper chambers. These claims quickly spread around the world because they challenged what many people believed about the pyramids. The researchers suggested the visible pyramid might be only a small part of a much larger underground complex. However, these ideas were immediately questioned by many experts. Whether the reported underground structures are real or not, the search has renewed worldwide interest in exploring what may still lie hidden beneath one of history's greatest wonders. If these underground structures are real, why has one of Egypt's most famous archaeologists rejected the discovery? And what does the evidence actually tell us? Let's delve deeper. The debate that refuses to end. The claims about hidden structures beneath the Kafra pyramid quickly spread around the world. News reports, documentaries, podcasts, and social media pages all began talking about the possible discovery. Many people believed they were looking at one of the biggest archaeological breakthroughs in modern history. Others remained careful and said there was simply not enough evidence to support such a huge claim. The debate became larger than the discovery itself. It was no longer just about what might be beneath the pyramid. It became a debate about science, technology, and how extraordinary discoveries should be tested before the world accepts them as fact. As more people joined the discussion, one thing became clear. Everyone agreed that the pyramids still hold many mysteries. The disagreement was about whether this was one of them. The research team stood by their findings. They explained that they had used information collected from several satellites instead of relying on a single source. They believed that if different satellite systems showed the same patterns, it made the results stronger. They also said that artificial intelligence helped study the large amount of radar information and reduced the chances of human error. From their point of view, the shapes they found were too organized to be explained by nature alone. They believed the underground features looked carefully planned instead of being random spaces inside the rock. One of the biggest parts of their claim was the discovery of 8 large shafts reaching deep underground. They believed these shafts were placed in a balanced pattern. They also claimed each shaft appeared to have a spiral shape wrapped around it. To them, this looked like something that had been designed rather than created naturally over time. They argued that natural caves usually follow cracks in the rock and rarely appear in such neat arrangements. Because of this, they believed the underground structures deserved much more investigation before anyone dismissed them. The team also claimed the shafts connected to 2 huge cube-shaped spaces buried deep below the ground. They described these spaces as being much larger than normal underground rooms found inside ancient monuments. If such chambers really exist, they would be among the largest hidden structures ever reported beneath an archaeological site. The researchers believed these spaces could be connected by other passages and smaller rooms, forming one large underground system beneath the Giza Plateau. However, these ideas remain only interpretations of the radar data. No one has entered these spaces because no excavation has confirmed that they actually exist. Some members of the research team went even further with their ideas. They suggested the pyramids may not have been built only as tombs for kings. Instead, they wondered if the structures served another purpose that has been forgotten over thousands of years. They spoke about the possibility that the underground network may have been linked to energy, information, or another function that modern science does not yet understand. These suggestions attracted a great deal of public attention because they challenged one of the oldest beliefs about ancient Egypt. At the same time, they also increased criticism from many experts who believed such conclusions were being made far too early. One of the strongest voices against the claims came from well-known Egyptian archaeologist Zahi Hawass. He strongly rejected the reports and said there was no scientific evidence proving the existence of the massive underground structures. He argued that the research had not been properly tested through peer review and that the technology being used could not clearly produce detailed images from such great depths beneath solid limestone. He also questioned whether the researchers had followed the normal scientific process before making their announcement. His response received wide attention because he has spent many years studying the pyramids and other ancient Egyptian sites. Many independent scientists also expressed concern. Radar specialists explained that satellite radar is very useful for studying the Earth's surface and detecting some features beneath it, but they questioned whether it could accurately map enormous chambers buried hundreds of meters below thick layers of rock. They argued that more independent studies would be needed before anyone could accept the findings. Until other research teams repeat the results using proven methods, many scientists believe the claims should remain unconfirmed. Even though the 2025 claims remain disputed, recent years have shown that the pyramids still have hidden spaces waiting to be explored. In 2017, scientists working on the Scan Pyramids project confirmed the existence of a large hidden void inside the Great Pyramid using muon scanning technology. Later studies also revealed a hidden corridor behind the pyramid's northern entrance. Other surveys around the Giza Plateau have identified unusual underground features that researchers continue to investigate. These discoveries have shown that modern technology is helping scientists learn new things about monuments that people once believed had given up all their secrets. For now, the mystery beneath the Khafre pyramid remains unsolved. Whether the truth lies inside hidden chambers, beneath the desert floor, or somewhere in between, the search continues and the story of the pyramids is far from finished. Could these hidden spaces be just the beginning? And what else might be buried beneath Giza? Stay tuned for more. What lies beneath the ancient stones? The area around the pyramids of Giza has many secrets, and some of them are not on the surface. Deep under the ground are tunnels, rooms, shafts, and other structures built thousands of years ago. One of the most interesting is the Osiris shaft. It is found between the Sphinx and the Khafre pyramid and goes about 30 meters below the ground. The shaft has several levels, with rooms and passages cut into the rock. At the lowest level, workers found a large stone sarcophagus inside a chamber. Water was also found around the chamber. This is interesting because ancient Egyptian religious stories often spoke about Osiris and an underground world linked with water. The Osiris shaft also proves something important. The ground around Giza is not simply solid rock from top to bottom. There are real underground spaces beneath the ancient monuments. Some were clearly made by people, while others may have been shaped by natural changes in the rock over a very long time. The shaft also shows how skilled ancient builders were. Another important example can be found farther south at Saqqara. There, archaeologist Auguste Mariette discovered a large underground place known as the Serapeum. Inside were huge stone boxes made from very hard stone, such as granite and diorite. Some of these boxes weighed about 70 tons, while the box and its lid together may have reached close to 100 tons. The usual explanation is that these boxes were linked to the burial of sacred Apis bulls. There is strong evidence that the Serapeum was an important place for the Apis bull religion. Still, some questions remain. Another mystery involves the tools used to cut hard stone. Archaeologist Flinders Petrie carefully studied the Giza Plateau and recorded many saw marks, drill holes, and other marks left on stone. One famous granite core has a spiral mark running around its surface. This has caused debate about how ancient workers drilled into hard granite. The common explanation is that Egyptians used copper tools together with sand or other hard material that acted as an abrasive. Some researchers believe that certain ancient cuts look more advanced than expected and have suggested that other tools may have been used. However, no clear evidence has been found showing that the Egyptians had modern machines or industrial equipment. What the evidence does show is that ancient Egyptian craftsmen were highly skilled. They understood stone, pressure, cutting, and careful measurement very well. Then came one of the biggest discoveries inside the Great Pyramid. In 2017, scientists working on the Scan Pyramids project found a large, empty space inside the Great Pyramid of Khufu. They did not break through the walls to find it. Instead, they used muons. Muons are tiny particles that come from space and constantly pass through the Earth. They can travel through large amounts of stone. Scientists can measure how these particles move through a building. If more muons pass through one area than expected, it may mean that the area contains empty space. Several teams used this method and found the same large void above the Grand Gallery. It became known as the Big Void. The discovery was published in the respected scientific journal Nature. The space is large, but its exact purpose is still unknown because nobody has entered it. A few years later, another hidden space was confirmed. In 2023, scientists identified a corridor behind the northern face of the Great Pyramid. The corridor is about 9 meters long. Later, a small camera was placed inside through a narrow opening, allowing researchers to see the space directly. This was important because it showed that the scanning method had correctly found a real structure hidden inside the pyramid. The corridor's purpose is still being studied. There are also narrow shafts inside the Great Pyramid that have created another mystery. In 1993, German engineer Rudolf Gantenbrink sent a small robot into one of them. The shaft was too narrow for a person to enter. After moving deep into the passage, the robot found a limestone blocking stone with small copper fittings. Years later, another robot drilled a small hole into the stone and sent a camera through it. Behind the first stone was another small space, and then a second blocking stone. Later, research found red markings inside the hidden area. The second stone has still not been opened. Nobody knows exactly what is behind it. These discoveries show that Giza still contains many unanswered questions. If the pyramid's design holds clues about numbers, Earth, and the stars, could its location reveal an even deeper secret about why it was built? Let's learn more. The mystery of the Great Pyramid's design. The Great Pyramid of Giza is strongly linked to Pharaoh Khufu, who ruled Egypt thousands of years ago. One reason for this belief is the name Khufu found inside the pyramid. However, the markings raise questions because they are painted in red instead of being carved into the stone like many other Egyptian writings. There is also no long writing inside the pyramid telling us the full story. Because of this, researchers still debate what the pyramid was really meant to do. Another area of debate is the mathematics found in its measurements. Some researchers believe the shape of the pyramid contains numbers connected to pi and the golden ratio. Pi is a number used to understand circles, while the golden ratio is a number close to 1.618. The pyramid does have very careful measurements, but there is no clear ancient writing saying that the builders purposely used these numbers. Finding a number inside a structure does not always mean the builders planned it. Still, the level of measurement used in the pyramid shows that its builders had strong knowledge of numbers, angles, and shapes. There is also a strange claim about the speed of light. The location of the Great Pyramid is at a latitude that contains numbers very close to the modern value of the speed of light, which is 299,792,458 meters per second. Some people believe this is evidence that the ancient Egyptians knew something about the speed of light. However, this idea has a major problem. The meter and the modern way of measuring the speed of light did not exist when the pyramid was built. There is also no ancient Egyptian record showing that the builders knew this number or placed the pyramid there because of it. For that reason, the similarity is generally treated as a coincidence rather than proof of hidden knowledge. Another theory connects the pyramid to the size of the Earth. Some researchers use the number 43,200 to compare the pyramid's measurements with measurements of the planet. They argue that the pyramid may have been built as a small model of Earth. The number is also connected to the number of seconds in half a day. These ideas are interesting, but there is no ancient document proving that the builders intended the pyramid to represent Earth. The Great Pyramid is still remarkable even without these theories. Its sides are carefully placed, its base is extremely level, and its size shows enormous planning and hard work. The bigger question is why the builders were so precise. Were they simply highly skilled builders, or were they placing deeper knowledge into the structure? There is no final answer yet. What is clear is that the Great Pyramid was carefully designed, and many parts of its purpose remain unknown. That uncertainty is exactly what continues to make the monument one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. What do you think about the rediscovered structure beneath the pyramid? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. If the mystery of the Great Pyramid, its strange measurements, hidden meanings, and unanswered questions fascinated you, please like, subscribe, and watch the next video for more stories. See you there.